So just arrived at the gym today to train chest and triceps. My first day of the week is always a Monday and it's always chest and triceps for no reason other than that's always the way we've done it. So usually my workout consists of about 4 chest exercises, 4 or 5 chest exercises and then 3 tricep exercises. No workout should take any longer than about 45 minutes, especially if you are working hard enough. And I think that's the key. Many people just don't work hard enough whenever they train at the gym. So today and for the rest of the week, I'm going to show you exactly what hard work actually is. My first set of every exercise is always relatively light. First set should be a warm-up. So I'm starting here with 12.5 kilo dumbbells, which for me is a warm-up because my top set will probably be about 25 kilos per hand. Don't normally need a spotter for the first 2 to 3 sets, simply because you're not lifting heavy enough. It's really only in the last set that you actually do need a spotter. So your first set should be pretty easy. Like you should have about 5 to 10 reps in reserve just to get the muscle warmed up. Let's go. That's it, easy as pie, first set. So for my second set, I'm gonna take a 15 kilo dumbbell, each hand. Again, not looking to tax the muscle or work really, really hard. Just at this stage, only warming up the muscle. The muscle only grows in the final reps of the final set. So for the first couple of sets, we're literally just looking to warm up. So I probably had maybe 5 reps in reserve. Second set, that's usually a good guide or a good gauge of whether you're lifting the correct weight or not for your second set. So third set, I'm gonna take 20 kilo dumbbells. Usually my top set is about 22.5 kilos, but the last few weeks we've pushed it up to 25 kilos for about 6 to 8 reps. With a spotter in the final set. I do start to struggle at the end of the set with 20 kilos, but I can do the full 10 reps myself, and you do want the third set to be challenging. You just don't want to reach complete muscle failure. So Mark always spots me on the third set, just to make sure that the reps are nice and clean. Let's go.
Let's go. Come on, light. Good. Easy. Up. 4, come on. Up. 5, good. Up. Keep going, all you. Up. Come on, 3 more. All you, up. 2 more. Come on, last one. And push. Up. Easy. Good.
So Mark had his hands on my elbows there, but wasn't actually pushing.
No, just enough to keep the set going. And like him was saying, the last set's the one that really works. So the last thing we want to do is completely burn out in this one, but it just kind of gauges where she's at for the last one and gets her ready so the muscles are nice and warm and there's less chance of injury.
Yeah, because I probably had 2 reps in reserve there.
Yeah, you probably could have done our 3 or 4, you know
yeah.
what I mean? And if you had to push the set, you could have done our 6 or 7 with me helping, you know. But at the end of the day, you're trying to feel in the 6 to 12 rep range, so doing any more in that set, in my opinion, would have been counterproductive to growth.
So the final set always, it always takes me, I'm always like...
She always shits herself, basically.
I do, I always have a moment, and you should, right? In your final set of every exercise, I mean, it should scare you. You should sit down here and be like, am I going to? And I know that I tend to take a wee bit longer than most to get that final set in, but it's what I suppose gears me up to push harder. You have to get your mind in the game more than your muscles. If your mind's not in the game, you'll never do it.
Right, let's go. Up. Right, I'm only here if you need me. Let's go. Come on. Time to work. Come on, light. Up. That's it. Come on. Up. Come on. Up. 3. Come on. Start to push. 4. Come on, there's more there. Up. Come on. 3 more. Control the negative. Come on, 3 more. That's better. Up. Come on. Come on, last two. Come on. Come on. Up. Come on, one more. Come on, last one. Come on. Nice and controlled down. Come on. Right, now drive off the bottom. Come on. Up. Control the last one. That's it.
Oh my God. Sorry. Normally I only do 6 there. But those last 2 were... So what we did there was we controlled the negative on the way down. So a lot of people think that when they've reached failure, they've failed on the positive and then they stop. But failure only truly happens whenever you can't control the negative anymore. Those last 2 reps, Mark was lifting. Not lifting, but like...
I was giving a wee bit of a push up.
On the positive.
And then letting her control the weight on the way down. And then the last one, obviously, it just...
Yeah, it was gone. I couldn't have done one more. Couldn't even control the negative.
That's kind of what you're aiming for, do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, like you see so many people doing 10 or 12 reps in the last set with no help. You know, at the end of the day, that means there's plenty more in the tank. You know, if you're trying to stimulate muscle growth, you need to take your body where it hasn't been. You need to step out of your comfort zone and you need to continue to push that. And that's the only way, really, you're going to elicit any muscle growth, especially as the years goes on. It gets harder because your body's used to and it's adapted to all the stress put on it. So therefore, you have to keep pushing and you have to keep pushing out of the comfort zone. I think that's the hardest part to do. You know, it's consistency in doing this with every body part day in, day out. You know, even on your off days, you know, you still have to keep pushing, otherwise you're going to lose that small chance for growth, you know. Yeah. And I think that's at the end of the day what separates getting results from not getting results, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's those last couple of reps as well that really make a difference. Too many people either forego the last set or they forego the last few reps in the last set, which basically, in a nutshell, means the workout ends up promoting nothing, do you know what I mean? If you stay in your comfort zone every workout, you might feel good, but in terms of results, you ain't going to get much, you know. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so next exercise, a lying machine press. Again, pretty easy first set, just bump, 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 smack it out. Warm up the muscle. Let's go. 6, 10 reps, 7, 2 more. Easy. Easy enough, probably had another 10, 15 reps there, easy. First set, that's all you want. Okay, so second set, again, not heavy. We've already warmed up with the first exercise, which was 4 sets. So muscles are pretty warm now, which is why we only need to do 3 sets of the next couple of exercises. And again, just hit failure in that final set. So there'll be no failure on this set. It's literally just, again, keeping the muscle moving, getting it warm, preparing for the next one. The reason we don't have to do as many sets is all you're kind of trying to do here is get into a different plane of motion. That was an incline, this is a flat. So the chest in itself's been warmed up. This is just kind of getting Kim realigned to a different exercise so that when she goes all out in her last set, she's in the groove already. Yeah. Let's go. Up. Come on, 10 easy. Good. 4. Good. 6. 7. On 3 more. 8. Last 2. 9. One more. Up. Good. So second set should be hard enough that you really are kind of struggling, feeling it in the last few reps, but not so hard that you fail and you can't lift it. That's really important. And I think that's what a lot of people miss. For a lot of people, that would have been their final set because it was a struggle in the last couple. It's not a struggle, but it was harder. But that's the difference between someone who just maintains in the gym and someone who actually grows, is pushing yourself out of that comfort zone and past what you're capable of. Final set. This is actually very heavy for me, but that's why I have Mark there to help me. But again, Mark is only helping to keep the rep moving. He's not actually lifting it for me. That's the difference between a good spotter and a bad spotter. A bad spotter will actually lift it for you, whereas a good spotter will just keep the rep moving, which is what I've learned from Mark. I'm actually here to make the set harder, not easier. You know, like if I let her do it on her own, she maybe get 4, 5, 6 reps. But I'm not going to let her stop there. I'm happy. And if he thinks it's too easy, sometimes he pushes it. Yeah. So sometimes I'm pushing down rather than pulling up. No, not on this, you're not. No, not yet. The hardest one's always the first one. Getting it up is always actually harder than keeping it moving. You should. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Good. Come on. Time to work. Big set. Up. That's it. All in control. Come on. 3. Up. 4. Come on. 68. Come on. 5. Keep going. Up. 6. Come on. You have 2 more here. Come on. 7. One more big rep. Let's go. I want the last one controlled as well. Up. Up, now controlling the way down. Controlling the way down. Come on. Control, 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 control. That's it. Well done. That's it.
So third exercise, dips. These are always a killer after 2 chest exercises. I have been working recently on, rather than pushing my reps up, I've been working recently on getting much slower controlled reps and also getting much greater depth. In a chest dip, whenever you're leaning forward, it works more of the chest. If you want to work more of the triceps, you tend to be more upright. So we'll lean more forward into the chest to work the chest. But these are a killer. I absolutely hate them. Second set's always easier than the first set. We don't usually add any weight either.
Make it, what would you say, cost effective because everyone's easy. Well, probably this here, right? So judging by what you're hearing, how many people would you say legal we say show some measures? One person with 3 square meters. So we worked it out.
Like I said, first set's always the hardest for some reason. I usually find the second set slightly easier, and interestingly, third set easier again. Probably because you're not adding any weight to make it harder, so you're more warmed up once you've been doing them. But my reps on this never used to be as deep. They would have been a lot more half reps, whereas now I'm really going a lot deeper, which puts a greater stretch across the chest and makes you work harder. Second set.
10 good reps. Good. Good, keep it going. Come on, 2 more. 1 more, big push up. Good.
I'm really finding those harder, slowing them down.
Yeah.
Because I used to almost just do half reps.
They're not fucking easy.
Whereas I'm definitely finding the depth.
It's the depth, it's the range of motion, and then basically slowing down the negative.
Yeah,
Gets you, like, you
yeah,
know?
slowing down the negative, you don't get as much of a bounce up. Yeah, it's good though.
And you're not using momentum, you see, either, and that's the problem as well. You know, well, not the problem, but obviously it's going to make it harder. You know.
Exactly.
But the good thing about it is it's not going to be sore in your joints.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause
Yeah.
it's all kept on
Just
the muscle.
not snapping into them.
You know.
Let's go.
Come on, easy. Good. That's it. Good. Come on, keep going. Keep going. Come on, you get 12 here. A couple of parts. Come on, 3 more. Come on, 2 more. 1 more, up, up, up. That's it. Hold on. Easy.
Always a few grunts in the last one.
Keeps you know it's working.
Yeah. Right, let's go. First set of flies, 25 kilos. Should be pretty easy, I'm hoping.
It's easy. Chest tight, keep squeezing through. Good. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3 more. 8, 9, 1 more. That's good.
I used to do my first set, and I used to say to Mark, it's not heavy enough there. There's not enough weight. Not Mark used to go, you'll be all right. Just keep going. No, Mark, it's really not heavy. Keep going, keep going. So whenever I first started training with Mark, I didn't really know what high intensity training was. Now I know.
I think you wanted every set to be heavier. It was
Well, I didn't know.
It was kind of letting you go. It was like that
Yeah.
false sense of security when the last set then you were nearly squealing.
I know.
You know what I mean? It was like that first leg workout. You thought you were.
Well,
you were
everybody
injured.
thinks that you have to work hard on every set, and you really don't.
You just want to get. For me, the first few sets are basically to warm up the muscle and not get injured, and to kind of get a groove. So if you think about the last couple of exercises you've done, it's to get the groove for that last set, so that you're kind of working with the right angles and you know what way it's working and what way it's feeling, and then you can put everything into that last set. Whereas if you burned out,
Yeah.
you're gonna have nothing left for that last set. So all I see the first sets for is warm up the muscle, less chance of getting injured, and to get into the groove of that machine. And then the last set, just all out war. That's it. Do you know what I mean? So if there was no chance of you getting injured, you could consistently get your groove. In theory, you could do 1 set of everything and grow.
And the proof is in the
You know what I
pudding.
mean? Well, there you go, like, you know what I mean?
Not that I look tiny in comparison to Mark. People are going, but she's tiny. No, just in comparison to him.
But the thing about it is, would you want to look like this as a woman?
No.
Really? No. Let's go.
Okay, second set. What am I on? 35 kilos?
35.
35 kilos.
Go on, keep this groove. 3, good. Head back. 3, good. 4, good. Easy, come on, 10 good reps. 6, 7, 3 more. Come on, that's still light. 9, last one. Up, 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 and then well done.
It's funny because at this stage I really start to fatigue in the last few reps of the second set, which is where you still don't need a spotter, but you are definitely fatiguing, which is where then you're like,
You're starting to feel it.
you know that the final set's not going to be pretty.
You're starting to feel it.
Come on, last one. 10 to work. Yes, here we go. Come on, come on. I'm not feeling it. Let's go. Up. Okay, right on. Good. 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 Come on, keep going. Come on, keep going. There's another 2 to play. Come on, keep going. Up. Come on, keep going. Come on, finish strong. Let's go. Control the negative every rep. Come on, another 2. I'll help you. Come on, 3 more. Let's go. Up. Come on, in. Squeeze. 1 more. Come on, 1 more. Up. Come on, big squeeze and then control the way back. Right and squeeze. That's it. Down nice and slow. Good.
Do you know what happens on those last few reps? The negative becomes actually just as hard as the positive. Your positive's gone.
Oh, your
Like it's
positive's
completely gone. And even controlling it on the negative is almost as hard as pulling it in on the
You
positive.
just think there's nothing there.
There's nothing there. You're like, it takes every ounce of strength to control the negative. But that's truly where the muscle grows, because muscle grows through either metabolic stress or mechanical stress. And so metabolic stress is where it's like high volume, where you would feel a burn in the muscle, whereas mechanical stress is where you move the muscle through its full range of motion, stretch and squeeze to tear muscle fibers. That's what causes DOMS, that's what causes muscle soreness the next day, is the muscle fibers that have been torn. So if you failed on the positive, right, but you still have something on the negative, that's still your muscle working. You're still controlling the rep on the negative. Your muscle's still working, and you're exerting more and more and more and more damage. If you stop once your positive rep is gone, you're missing out on all that extra damage you could be causing on the negative, which is why to have a spotter who knows what they're doing, that you can trust to help you get those positives and the last few controlled negatives, is where you push the muscle into growth.
A lot of
why you
people
keep making progress.
A lot of people, even when they're training, just forget about the negative in general. Not even in the last few reps. I find that a lot of people
just don't control it.
Yeah, they don't control it. They're just literally throwing it out, using a lot of momentum, get the weight up, bouncing it off the chest, whatever it is, and literally just letting it fall. And so, the trick is to keep your mind in every rep. That's why before every set, as you see Kim, it's like a wee ritual. You're getting yourself warmed up. Now, people might look at that and go, what's she doing or whatever else. But at the end of the day, if you're sitting thinking about what's for dinner or what's for lunch, or you're meeting whoever it is later on, and you're not thinking that's it, you'll pull out 10 reps and not once will you think about what you're doing and what the muscle that you're hitting. So I think a lot of people focus more on the positive because they have to actually lift the weight and forget about the negative. So if you're never in tune with your last set, you're never going to get the most benefit out of it, And what you see owning a gym and being in a gym is literally lifting with no actual regard to what they're doing,
Yeah, a lot of people just maintaining.
Yeah, and that's why
not
if you
making
walk
any
into a gym,
progress.
like it's a couple of things been said to me in the past, and if you look around a gym a lot of the time, you just see the same thing over and over again, and the same people look the same, and that's the reason. They're going to the gym, they're putting in 70% of the hard work, they're turning up, they're training for an hour. If they done maybe 5 extra sets in that workout and took each one of them to failure, the growth and the results,
the amount of exercises
the growth
they're
and the
doing.
results that we'd have is crazy. So, sometimes you're looking around going, you should be farther forward than that. And to do something so simple but yet so hard would take them there, but they just don't want to put it in, because again, that's where
We're going to caption that. So simple, but yet so hard.
It is.
I always say to people, training with Mark is the hardest, easiest training you'll ever do. Hardest because you'll leave your soul on the floor. Easiest because he'll only ask you to do it once in every exercise.
That's it.
So that's good.
That's it.
Thanks. Tricep press down first set. We always use an easy bar simply because I find the angle is easier on my wrists, but you can use a straight bar too. Okay, again, first set super light, just to get the stretch and the
10 to
squeeze.
12, that's it. In the groove. Easy.
Still wanting to feel the control of the bar though. Whenever on my first set, I always try and isolate the muscle and really try and feel, even though it's not heavy, just really try and feel the squeeze and the stretch just to make sure that as the sets get heavier, you're not losing that. And quite often I do in the final set, like I'm
Plus
just
though, if you do that
banging
in
them
the heavy
out.
sets, you'll find in your heavier sets it's easier to get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because
the
you could
muscle's
push
already
that,
there,
you could use your forearms to push that, but if you really use the triceps to push
but that's
it,
what I was saying back
does
there.
warm
You know,
up.
people just go through the range of motion. They actually go through the exercise not thinking about what they're doing. And that's why a lot of people can train chest or any muscle group and actually walk out and not even feel it. You know what I mean? Because they haven't actually thought about what they're doing.
Yeah.
Whereas if you take a second and think about what you're doing and the exercise that you're doing, the muscle that you're training, it'll actually enhance your whole workout. Do you know what I mean? Without actually doing anything more than thinking about it. That's what it is. Find the muscle.
Yeah. Okay, second set, still not heavy. Focusing on mind muscle connection.
On the tricep. Easy.
With these, Mark, talk about form, where you want the bar to go to and where you want it to push to.
Basically full range of motion, you know, see the way
But you don't want it to come up like this.
No, elbows stay where they're at, so elbows, shoulders stay in line. Let the wrists go right up and then right down through lockout. One of the only exercises, triceps, I think one of the main exercises where you kind of are looking to lock right out, because whenever you lock the elbow out you can
That's
feel it
when the
more.
muscle
Do you know what I mean?
is
So you can. So
activated.
it's like right up like that there. So the full range of motion for a tricep, you see a lot of people doing this.
Only
The
half
biggest
reps.
mistakes is that, or like him saying that. So all you're doing there is nearly engaging the lats, whereas the elbow should be tucked in. Full range of motion starts there and right down to there.
But
and
in
then
your final
squeeze.
set, it's okay to go for half
No,
reps.
it's okay
isn't it?
to go
You're
for
just
half
to
reps.
push
It's
them
even
out.
okay to throw it down a wee bit. Again, it's hard to spot in this, so the best way I'm finding to go past failure is at the start you can put a wee bit of body English into it and then actually just do a wee bit of half reps or even lockouts. Anything to take the set past failure and to make it that wee bit harder, you know.
You'll see that
again,
in the final
stopping
set.
like that there, 10 reps, you get to there, you stop, or you can turn around then and start putting a wee bit of movement into it. You can start doing half reps, and again it's going to make the set harder. Failure or going to failure using a spotter, all them are advanced techniques, but if the set's feeling easier, then you're doing it wrong. It should
Right.
always make the set feel harder, and at that stage the muscle should be burning, and you know there's really not that much left.
Perfect.
You know.
Final set or one more
Yep.
after this?
Well, we'll see how you feel.
See how you feel. If I make it look hard, then I get off
I
the
know
final
now.
set.
Your tricks are gone.
Okay.
Let's go. Good. Come on, squeeze the trays, hurry up. Good. Come on, keep going, keep going. Come on, more. Let's go. Keep working. Come on, 5 more. Come on. Come on. 2. Come on, 3 more. 2 more. 1 more. Up, up, up. Last one. Big push. Good.
I really don't think I'd be able to lift that, will I?
Try it and see.
This is 38.5 kilo.
Yeah. You start thinking about it like that, you're not going to be able to lift it. Get in the zone. Your last set was good enough anyway. This is just a wee bit of fun.
Let me just feel it a wee minute.
Give it a go.
Okay.
The last 10 you're beat was when never turned up. Come on. Let's go. Even get 6. Come on. Bit of aggression. Up. Come on. Come on. 2. Come on again. Come on again. Again. Come on again. 3 more. 3 more. Come on. Up, up, up. 1 more. Up, up, up. There you go.
Couldn't even control it the way off anymore. It was.
There was a bit of weight on it.
There was. I think that was the heaviest I've ever done.
Well, you said you wanted heavier, so you just decided to try it. Like, you know.
I'll be full stack next.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Easy. Good. Good. Well done.
Triceps are
Burnt.
burnt. The reason why we train chest and triceps on the same day is because during chest, your triceps get a lot of work anyway. So even though we're only doing 3 tricep exercises, by the time you get to triceps after chest, your triceps are tired because they're working on the dips, they're working on the bench presses,
yeah.
the presses, they're working everywhere apart from on the flies, of course. But you find that by the time you get to the end of this, your triceps are just like...
There are a couple of varying theories. A lot of people, some people like doing triceps on another day. Personally, I don't think it makes much sense because to me,
they're fatigued from
Yeah.
working hard in the presses. So for me, putting them in another day and having to warm them up and do more volume, you know, doesn't make sense. Anybody that I think trains chest after triceps, realistically, as long as they're pushing hard, especially in all the presses and the dips, definitely won't have weak triceps.
Yeah,
you know
well,
what I mean?
we only do 3 tricep exercises. That's all we've ever done, and we always just do these 3 ones. And like I have like for a girl, like look at the size.
I think a lot of
thickness
people,
of
the
my
biggest
tricep.
problem when people come to training is overtraining. You know, if you think about it logically, if you see guys especially doing an arm day and they're maybe doing 8 exercises for arms, then you ask them how many exercises they're doing for a leg day and you find out they're only doing 4 or 5.
Yeah.
You kind of have to look at it in perspective and what size your arms are in comparison to your legs, you know. So I think that's the main thing. Most people, you know, think that more is less, or sorry,
More is
that
more.
more is more, where it's not. Sometimes, you know, less is more. It's about doing the exercises right, the reps right. And realistically, if you do it right and you do it hard enough, you're not going to need any more than 2 or 3 exercises for any muscle group, you know, any of the smaller muscle groups.
Yeah, perfect.
Come on. Easy. Come on, squeeze the tricep every rep. Good. Good. Well done. There, 3.
Final set.
Let's
do
go.
it. I was about to go there, then I thought, oh, we might need Mark actually.
Oh, for a lift. Come on, I'll give you.
I like to try and wedge my foot on the back here to try and, because otherwise you can slide a bit.
Slide.
Just to get it wedged in.
Let's go. Come on, nearly there. Come on, let's go. Come on, 1. Get the first one. Up. Come on, 1. 2. Keep going. 3. Come on, 10 good reps. 4. That's it. Take them back. 5. Better. 6. Come on, keep going. I'm with you. 7. Come on, 3 more. Come on, right back. Come on. 8. Come on, 2 more. 9. Come on, 1 more. Stay straight. Up. Last one. Come on, big push, big push, big push, big push, big push. That's it. Good. Well done.
Triceps are gone.
What a weight.
Gone.
We'll finish with down and outs.
Yeah.
These are down and out.
In a wee minute. Oh shit, those are hard. Last exercise. By this point your triceps should be quite dead. Like mine actually feel really full. Like they're
Full of
almost going to
blood.
explode, yeah.
All the blood
The
pooling on
pump.
them.
Yeah.
Now it's just time to ruin them.
Yeah.
Good. Down and squeeze. 6. Good.
Second
Let's
set.
go. Come on, 10 again. Come on, keep going. Easy. Good. Keep it off the final set.
Okay.
So as many as you can.
You'll see my forearms start to go slightly in this because as your forearm starts to go, you don't stop in these, you just keep
Keep going.
going.
Let's go. Come on, down and squeeze every rep. Good. Come on. Good. Fire them out. Good. Come on, squeeze them out as many as you can. Good. Come on, you get 15 here. Let's go. Come on. 9. Keep going. 10. Good. Now you're starting to go. 5 more. 1. Good. 2. Come on. 3 more. 2 more. Come on. Last 2. 1 more. Up. And relax. Negative
What
gone.
happens in the last ones is it's kind of different in this. You can't control
No, they're just
the
gone.
negative. It like shoots up and you have to kind of throw it down.
That's when you know you're
That's
completely
when
gone.
whenever you're literally being thrown up to the ceiling. And I had it up to 10. The last
that
5
was good.
were just the final. So
That's just to put the
That's
nail.
us.
That's to put the nail in the coffin.
excellent. So that is chest and triceps done. I usually don't feel really sore after a workout or really fatigued. I can feel that my triceps are filled with blood, and definitely I feel just a little bit tired across my whole upper body. But whenever you've been training for a long time, you don't actually experience the same amount of muscle soreness that you do whenever you first begin training. You'll always feel a little bit of tightness and fatigue the next day, and you will feel that your muscles have worked, but you won't feel like, oh, you can't lift your arms, which is what many people feel whenever they first start in the gym. Also, splitting out your body parts the way we do by only training chest and triceps means that you're not completely annihilating your whole upper body. If you were to go to the gym and just train your upper body and you did your shoulders, your back, your biceps, your triceps, your chest all in one go, you would be physically exhausted for the rest of the day and find it hard to even lift your arm to drink your protein shake. So you want to make sure that you're splitting your body parts correctly, which means that you can really work each muscle group extremely hard, which is what I've just done in the chest and the triceps. And it still means that you're fresh to come in tomorrow and train legs, which is always your day 2. I do take a day off after legs, usually because I just like to let my body recover after 2 hard days training, and then we're back at it hard again on the Thursday. So thanks for being here today for this workout. Hope you enjoyed it. See you tomorrow for legs.